They don't tell you what it really feels like to be 78 as a woman. The world might notice the silver hair, the slower pace, or the gentle smile. But behind all of that, there are truths no one likes to say out loud. 10 harsh realities that shape life at this age, the ones many women quietly carry in their hearts. And today, we're opening that door. This isn't about pity. It's about honesty. It's about sharing the thoughts, emotions, and struggles that so many older women live with in silence. If you're growing older yourself, or if you have a mother, grandmother, or friend walking this path, what you'll hear may surprise you. Some of it may sting, some of it may comfort, but all of it will prepare you for what lies ahead. Stay with me until the very end, because the last reality might just change how you see aging and how you see yourself forever. And if you believe these conversations matter, please hit like, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more truths most people are too afraid to say out loud. Let's begin. Number 1. You realize you don't have much time left. At 78, you face a truth that's both shocking and sobering. You're not going to live much longer. That may sound harsh, but these are harsh realities. And the first reality is this: time is running out. Everyone dies. But when you reach this age, the numbers become uncomfortably clear. According to the CDC, the average life expectancy for a male born today is 78. That's not a number for someone decades younger. That's my number right now. You might think medical advances would have stretched that number far beyond what it used to be, but it hasn't. Even insurance companies are betting big that at 78, you won't make it another decade. Buy an annuity or a life insurance policy, and they're calculating that you'll be gone within 10 years. They're not always right. You might have only a day left, or you might have 15 years left. Nobody knows for sure. But you can't escape the awareness that your time is now limited. That realization changes how you view life. Time becomes precious. You stop treating it as endless because it isn't. Suddenly, every day feels like something you need to hold on to. And there's another thought that creeps in. Is this the last time? The last time I'll travel overseas? The last time I'll take a cruise? The last time I'll see my brother? When you're younger, you assume there will always be another chance. At 78, you're not so sure. The gift, however, is that you stop taking time for granted. You savor what you can, while you can. The harsh part is knowing the end is closer than ever. Number 2. Health isn't just important, it's everything. When you're younger, health is something you barely think about. By 78, it's the one thing that dominates your life. It doesn't matter how much money you've saved, how many plans you've made. If your health fails, everything else takes a back seat. Your body becomes your full-time concern. Every appointment, every blood test, every checkup feels like it could deliver life-altering news. I dread those online test results that appear before the doctor has a chance to explain them. A number comes back flagged in red, out of range, and your mind starts racing. What does this mean? Am I in real trouble? That kind of anxiety becomes part of your normal rhythm at this age. And then there's sleep. A full night's rest becomes a rare gift. Sometimes you wake at 4:30 or 5 o'clock and can't drift back to sleep. Many in their 70s and 80s wake often during the night to use the bathroom. And once you're up, your mind doesn't want to settle back down. It's exhausting in its own way. Health concerns also show up in 3 main areas: heart, vision, and hearing. Hearing starts to fade, and background noise becomes a constant struggle. Many men my age rely on hearing aids. Vision is another one. Cataracts are almost universal. Either you've already had the surgery or you're waiting for it. Driving at night becomes more difficult, sometimes even dangerous. That's why I chose my last car specifically for its safety features. And 6 years later, I've barely driven it 25,000 miles. I just don't get behind the wheel as much anymore. And then there's the heart. 2 years ago, I had my own scare. At this age, you see such a wide variety of conditions in your peers. Some are thriving, still walking miles every morning. Others are dealing with joint replacements, chronic pain, or mobility issues. When you're young, health outcomes follow a narrow curve. By your 70s, it's all over the map. Some of your friends are gone, some are barely hanging on, and others are still in surprisingly good shape. That unpredictability keeps you on edge. You never know if you'll be the one whose heart gives out suddenly, or the one who pushes on well into your 90s. Either way, you live with the constant reminder, your health isn't optional anymore. It's the foundation for everything else. The truth is, at 78, you stop worrying about perfect health. Instead, you focus on maintaining what you have and preventing decline. You become grateful for small victories, a good night's sleep, a strong walk around the block, a clear doctor's report. Those things matter more now than they ever did before. Because without your health, everything else, your plans, your relationships, even your time, slips away. If these words touched your heart and sparked inspiration within you, leave a 3 in the comments to let it shine. If they did not, leave a 0 in quiet honesty. Every thought you share is a gift. Thank you for giving us a moment of your precious time. Number 3, your independence feels more fragile. I touched on this before, but it becomes clearer with every passing year. Each doctor's appointment feels like a turning point. You wonder if this ache or that test result is going to spiral into something bigger. Will it affect your ability to travel, to keep up the life you've built? Or will it be something truly life-changing? Or worse, life-ending? The truth is, independence becomes something you no longer take for granted. One bad fall, one wrong decision, and everything can change overnight. Break a hip, and suddenly the freedom you've relied on your whole life is gone. That thought stays with you, so you start making small adjustments. I call it becoming anti-fragile. You don't take the same risks you used to. I gave away my 10-foot ladder because climbing it just wasn't worth it anymore. I don't join the guys for walks in the rain, even though they joke about me being overly cautious. I simply don't want to risk slipping and ending up in a hospital bed. At this age, you protect your independence at all costs, because once it's gone, getting it back isn't guaranteed. Number 4, your memory slips and mistakes happen more often. We've all had those moments, walking into a room and forgetting why you went there, or blanking on someone's name. But as the years add up, those moments seem to happen more often. Not long ago at church, where I've been active for years, I completely blanked on the name of a woman I see every single week. Her name is Linda, but out of nowhere, I started calling her Carol. I don't even know where Carol came from, and the worst part was that I couldn't shake it. For 2 whole days, I just could not remember her real name. When it finally came back to me, I felt relief, but also fear. That scared me in a way I didn't expect. Checklists have now become my best friend. My husband and I help each other keep track of things. If he's heading out for his morning walk, I'll remind him to take his phone. If I'm going to play cards with friends, he'll ask if I packed my glasses. At this age, memory isn't just an individual effort anymore, it becomes a team sport. Still, the little lapses chip away at your confidence. I tell myself, this is normal aging, not dementia. but dementia is always lurking in the back of your mind. We used to have a close circle of friends, 3 couples who would rotate hosting dinners in our homes. Out of the 6 of us, 2 developed dementia and eventually died from it. One of them was my dearest friend. She battled it slowly for 8 years, ending up in memory care until she passed. Watching her fade away piece by piece was heartbreaking. The other was a man I'd known for over 40 years. His decline was much quicker, but no less painful. Those losses leave a scar. And now, every time I forget a name or misplace my keys, I can't help but wonder, is this just another sign of normal aging, or is it the beginning of something worse? Number 5. You watch friends and family disappear. They don't really disappear. They die. That's the blunt truth, and it never gets easier. In our retirement community, the reality is visible every day. Over 9 years, we've lost 4 neighbours, 2 couples who used to share meals and laughter in our home. Now, all of them are gone. The couple on one side were in their late 70s when they passed. The husband, wheelchair-bound, died before he reached 80. His wife followed not long after. On the other side, the story stretched out a little longer. She was around 80 when she began dialysis, and within 2 years, she was gone. Her husband lasted a bit longer, but dementia eventually claimed his independence. He moved into assisted living and passed away 6 months later from throat cancer. It's sobering, seeing those empty houses where friends once lived. These were people we shared dinners and stories with, and now, all 4 are gone. That's the harsh reality of being 78. You start losing people at a pace you never imagined when you were younger. Number 6. Relationships matter more than ever. I've been married for 52 years, and after that much time together, one truth hits harder than almost anything else. Nothing lasts forever. Just as I may die, so may my wife. We've seen this reality play out again and again in our community. One spouse goes first, and the other is left to face life without them. Honestly, I can't even imagine it. After more than half a century side by side, the thought of losing her is more frightening than anything else. That awareness makes us treasure our time together even more now. We reminisce often, revisiting old memories, laughing at shared stories, and simply enjoying one another's company while we can. There's a sweetness in those moments that feels deeper than it ever did when we were younger. And it's not just about spouses. Many people in their late 70s find themselves rebuilding old connections with siblings, children, or friends they may have drifted away from over the years. I experienced that with one of my brothers. Life had pulled us in different directions, and we lost touch for a while. But starting a YouTube channel for him turned into a project that brought us closer. Through that, I learned things about him I never knew, and he learned things about me. At this stage, those bonds matter more than ever. You realize the people you love are what really count. Number 7. You shift from accumulating to letting go. Somewhere along the way, you stop wanting more stuff and start craving more experiences. I don't buy many clothes or gadgets anymore, and I'm doing my best not to add to my collections. In fact, I've started thinking about what to do with the things I already own, whether to donate them to a museum, sell them, or pass them along somehow. Simplifying feels important now. This mental shift isn't easy. It takes courage to move from collecting to releasing, but it's part of the process of aging with clarity. Someone once told me, finances become more important the less money you have. And it's true. The less you have, the more careful you must be. Letting go isn't just about physical possessions. It's also about adjusting priorities, focusing less on accumulation and more on peace of mind. Number 8. You face end-of-life options and decisions. This is one of the hardest, but most necessary realities to face. At some point, you have to think about your will, your living will, and what are now called advanced care directives. These are documents where you clearly state your wishes, whether you want to be placed on a ventilator, how long you'd want life support continued, when you'd want it stopped. These decisions matter, because if you don't make them, someone else will have to. That's why having what's often called the conversation is so critical. Talk openly with the person who will be in charge of your healthcare. Make sure they know what you want and are willing to respect your wishes. I did this 2 years ago, during Thanksgiving, when my brothers came over. I appointed one as the decision maker for my healthcare directives and told him exactly how I wanted things handled. My other brother was there too, so he heard it firsthand. It wasn't an easy discussion, but it gave me peace of mind. And it doesn't stop there. You need to think about whether you prefer burial or cremation. Do you want a traditional funeral, or would you rather have a life celebration? Too many people avoid these conversations, but leaving those decisions undecided only makes it harder for your loved ones later. In your late 70s, these choices become impossible to ignore. Facing them doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're planning wisely. By putting your wishes in writing and talking with your family, you give them clarity and relief in a time that will already be hard enough. It's one of the last and most meaningful gifts you can give. Okay, next up. You start to see yourself as that old lady, or at least you try not to be. It sneaks up on you. Your hearing isn't what it used to be. Background noise is harder to filter, and conversations don't come as easily. That's just part of aging, and there's no shame in it. If you need a hearing aid, get one. Some women resist because they don't want to admit they're getting older, but avoiding it doesn't help. Being able to hear your children and grandchildren clearly is far more important than protecting your pride. And then there are the stories. In your 70s, you love to share them. Sometimes you even repeat them without realizing it. I've noticed it with my friends. One of them tells the same vacation story 3 times in a month, and I catch myself wondering, am I doing that too? Probably. It's part of getting older. Still, after the 3rd or 4th repeat, you know people are silently thinking, here it comes again. Advice can be another trap. When you've lived nearly 8 decades, you've collected a lot of experiences, and it's tempting to hand out advice constantly. But too much can turn you into what I call the baby boomer know-it-all. A younger woman starts sharing her story, and suddenly you're interrupting to top it with your version. I've even caught myself doing that with younger women online. It's easy to slip into, I've been through this, so I know better. But real wisdom at this age is knowing when to listen, instead of always jumping in. Another danger is becoming the grumpy old lady. Some women do. Life wears them down. Chronic health problems or loneliness weigh heavy, and bitterness takes root. They have every right to feel that way. But for the rest of us, staying positive is essential. Even something as simple as a photograph can betray you. At 78, your neutral face might look stern or tired, so you learn to smile more, intentionally. Otherwise, people just see that grumpy old woman staring back. Personally, I'm learning to let go of the need to always be right. Arguments don't matter anymore. Years ago, I would jump into every debate like it was life or death. Now, I pause and ask myself, does this really matter? Most of the time, the answer is no. That's wisdom. The ability to realize you can't change everyone's mind, and maybe you're not even right yourself. Life's too short to waste on constant battles. Patience becomes a discipline, even if it takes effort. And that leads to the most important shift. You finally see what truly matters and what doesn't. Chasing status, climbing ladders, buying more things, all of that fades away. What remains is relationships, love, and gratitude. Gratitude especially takes on new power. At 78, being alive at all is a gift. You start to feel thankful for another sunrise, another laugh with family, another chance to tell a story that matters. Gratitude doesn't erase the aches, the losses, or the limitations, but it softens them. It makes them bearable. And competition? That fades too. I used to wonder why older women seemed less driven to win. Now I understand. It's not that they gave up. It's that they've already lived, worked, raised families, and earned their peace. There's nothing left to prove. Life isn't about being on top anymore. It's about enjoying what's left without all the noise and drama. So yes, you notice yourself becoming that old lady. You forget names, repeat stories, and force a smile for the camera so you don't look cross. But you also gain clarity. You realize it's not about winning arguments, chasing status, or proving yourself. It's about presence. It's about love. It's about gratitude. And that, I believe, is what wisdom really looks like in your late 70s. As the years accumulate, something else begins to weigh more heavily on the mind: legacy. And not just the financial kind. At this stage, you start to realize that what you leave behind isn't measured only in bank accounts, property, or heirlooms. The deeper legacy lives in the memories you create, the lessons you teach, and the kindness you extend. Children and grandchildren may inherit objects, but what stays with them longest is how you made them feel, the values you passed down, and the example you set in how you lived. Sometimes it's as simple as a story told at the right moment, a memory of how you faced hardship, or how you kept faith during difficult times becomes part of your living legacy. You begin to see that your words, actions, and character carry forward in ways more powerful than anything material. Connected to this awareness is a shift toward appreciating the simple things. There was a time when accomplishments, possessions, and recognition drove much of life. But at this age, joy takes a different form. It hides in the small rituals of daily living, sipping that first cup of coffee in the morning, hearing a familiar voice on the phone, or sitting quietly at sunset, watching the light fade. These ordinary moments take on extraordinary meaning because you finally notice them fully. Many younger people race past them, too busy chasing the next milestone. But with age comes the wisdom to pause, to savor, to breathe in the beauty of small blessings. That simplicity is not a consolation prize. It is one of the richest rewards of growing older. Hand in hand with this joy comes the desire to give back. Having lived through decades of challenges and changes, you carry experiences that younger generations simply don't have yet. Mentorship becomes one of the most profound gifts you can offer. It doesn't require standing at a podium or writing a book. Sometimes it is as humble as listening to a grandchild's fears, encouraging a neighbor who feels lost, or guiding a younger colleague who's unsure about the path ahead. Passing on knowledge isn't just about skills or facts. It's about sharing perspective, helping others see the bigger picture, reminding them that storms eventually pass and that resilience is built in the quiet moments of perseverance. Even when you don't call yourself a mentor, every act of listening, every piece of advice given with love becomes a thread in the fabric of someone else's life. And through this stage of mentoring and guiding, another truth emerges: the power of acceptance. In younger years, life can feel like an endless contest to prove yourself, to win, to compete. But with age comes a different strength, the strength to let go. You learn to accept limitations, both physical and emotional. You learn to accept that some things will never be resolved, some questions will never be answered, and some people will never change. Rather than resisting, you embrace peace in the acceptance. This isn't giving up, it's freedom. It's the freedom that comes when you stop fighting battles that don't matter and focus instead on what does. No longer comparing yourself endlessly, no longer clinging to old grudges, you discover a serenity that feels like wisdom embodied. When you combine all these threads, legacy, simplicity, mentorship, and acceptance, you see a larger picture forming. Life in the later years isn't only about loss or decline. It's about clarity. It's about stripping away the noise to reveal what's always been at the core: love, presence, gratitude, and meaning. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of age, that when the distractions fall away, what remains is what truly counts. And so, as we look at the realities of life in our late 70s, one truth rises above them all. This stage isn't only about endings, it's about clarity. You begin to see what truly matters: relationships, memories, small joys, and the impact you leave behind. Legacy becomes less about possessions and more about presence. A kind word, a story passed down, or a lesson shared can ripple through generations long after we're gone. That's real wealth. You also discover that happiness doesn't always come from chasing big achievements. It hides in the small, everyday moments: a morning coffee, a walk in the park, a call from someone you love. Those little things, often overlooked in younger years, become treasures. And when you embrace them, you realize that simplicity isn't less. It's more. With age comes the privilege of giving back. Mentoring, listening, and guiding the next generation become sources of deep meaning. When you share what you've learned, the struggles, the victories, the wisdom, you don't just help others. You affirm your own journey and make it timeless. And finally, there is peace in acceptance. Accepting limits, changes, and uncertainties doesn't mean surrender. It means freedom. Freedom from comparisons, from battles that no longer matter, from the weight of the past. It allows you to live lighter, calmer, and more grateful. If this message resonates with you, if it makes you pause and reflect, then don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. Like this video to show your support, subscribe so you can join this community of reflection and growth, and leave a comment with your own perspective. Together, we can keep these conversations alive and remind each other that aging, with all its challenges, is also full of gifts.